Hello! Today I want to show you how to set up a continuous brew system for kombucha. So my favourite method of brewing kombucha is in a continuous system, and the reason is because it makes the system with your kombucha much safer by continuously brewing it. When you do a setup that is in a single jar and you change it every time, the system gets quite weak, and this is when you get issues with, such as mould. And also it takes a couple of weeks for good diversity to develop within your kombucha system. So by brewing it continuously, you're giving your brew enough time to actually create, to have good amount of strong, good bacteria and diversity in the system. So it's really, really easy. I love kombucha for getting started with. Sorry about the pause for a second there. So kombucha is really, really good to set up for the first for your first time brewing. It's first time fermenting because it's so resilient. Now there are horror stories out there about kombucha going mouldy and stuff. It's very, very rare that that'll actually happen. It's a very, very resilient ferment, and that's why I love it so much. So let's get started. So at the top of the group, the page, I've got a pinned instructions which you can download to follow through later and get more clarification on how to make your kombucha. But I'll just show you what we do. It's really, really simple. So you take a piece of SCOBY. Now this is from a system. This system here was actually set up until a few minutes ago when I pulled it apart. Hold on, we have 3-year-old interruption. Yes, darling. Do you want to come with me? Stand next to me.
What's that?
That's SCOBY. So we put the SCOBY into the brew, into your container, and then you add roughly a litre of starter tea. Now starter tea is just previously fermented kombucha.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to the camera, darling, because there's people watching me.
Who are they called?
I think there's Laura, I think there's Angus, I think there's Leslie. Hi Leslie. Hi Laura. Sorry about the child interruption. So we add the starter tea to the SCOBY. Now this isn't necessary, but it will just make your brew work faster.
It's too spicy for me.
It is too spicy for you, darling. You don't really like kombucha, do you? So yes, adding a starter tea just makes the system stronger and work faster. But it's not necessary. So if you just got SCOBY and you didn't have that much starter tea, don't worry. Okay, these are just guidelines. The thing with kombucha is, if you just leave her, she's fine. Sorry, they're guidelines. Kombucha is very, very. Sorry about the pause again. My message app seems to be overriding the Facebook app. So, as I was saying, the starter tea makes the system stronger, but it's not necessary. So the guideline is a piece of SCOBY, a litre of starter tea, which is in there, and this is a 10-litre system. And then we add our tea. So the tea, I like to do the tea in a big pot. This has previously been brewed and then cooled, because you don't want to add warmth, a warm tea to your system, otherwise you will actually kill your bacteria before it's even got time to set up. So I've got roughly, let's say 6 litres in there. Now I like to add half a cup of sugar per litre. So this is a half cup measurement. I may not have enough. Now in the beginning you want to add quite a lot of sugar, not go under on your sugar content, because the system will actually get weakened. It needs to be fed really well with sugar and teas to begin with, to make sure that you're actually setting up a really strong system. Now ideally you would add the sugar in when the tea is warm so it dissolves properly, but as we're doing this live with cool tea, I can't actually do that. So I'm just going to pour the cooled tea in with the sugar. Now it hasn't dissolved properly, so it will probably just all come out at the end. There's all our sugar. Now that's fine, it doesn't actually matter. I should turn it around so you can see there's my sugar coming out. It doesn't actually matter that there's extra sugar in there. Then we cover the system with a tea towel. Now you want a tea towel because it lets the kombucha breathe. Kombucha SCOBY likes fresh air. If you deny it fresh air, then you can weaken the system and it can get mouldy. So if you say put it in a cupboard, and that has happened to a few people that I know, is they've put it in their pantry, there's not enough airflow. And there could also be trap moulds in the pantry. It actually can make the brew mouldy, and that's when you get problems. Obviously, if you do get a mouldy SCOBY, which is unlikely if you do it properly, you need to start again. It's not worth trying to resurrect it. So I tie a bit of string onto the top of the system to make sure there's no insects getting in, and ants, because they, especially in summer, they love it. They will come and try and lay their eggs in there, and it's pretty gross. And there we go. There's your system set up. Put it on your bench, or somewhere out of direct sunlight so it doesn't get too hot. But it doesn't really matter as long as there's airflow and it's not in a mouldy environment. And also, I forgot to mention, another risk for weakening your system is if you've got mouldy utensils, and if your vessel wasn't clean. That's the greatest risk of introducing mould into your kombucha system. So it's really, really easy. That's basically it. You sit it on your bench and taste it every day. The reason I say to taste it every day is you get to learn the brew. Now, kombucha, there's no hard and fast rules. It's really an art, and the more you develop the skill of tasting your brew and understanding it's sort of like a relationship. It'll brew at different rates at different times. So if you taste it every day, you'll learn when the ideal time is to bottle it. And I can go over bottling maybe another week or in the questions after. So there we go. That's a continuous brew kombucha. Hold on, I just need to see if there's any questions. Are there any questions, anybody? Hi, Stephanie. Hello. Okay, so if there's no questions, you can pop them in after in the chat. And if anyone's interested in getting their own setup, just mention your name in the comments below, and I'll let you know where you can get one of these systems from, or a slightly different one. And I've got ample SCOBY to share around, and starter tea, so I'm happy to share that around. And also, there's lots of members in the group. If you're not close to me in Geelong, there's people around Australia who have spare SCOBY to share. So yes, thank you very much for joining me for my first live, and hopefully the pauses weren't too annoying. Thank you.